รีบสู้บางคนนี่คือจีตำนังล้อสมัยเนี่ยได้กดกระโปรงแต่งสมดองปลาที่การบลุยช่างเหมือนกันคือจีหางเช็คตาในไงที่ผมมวยแค่ปีนำปีปอนออกไปผมมวยในปีแต่ประมีนำไปสับผมไปตลาดในครั้งมวยตำนังยังหายนั่นนำไปดังกับผมมีจ้าผมมีทำไมยังมีผมมีพิเศษมวยได้สายได้รอยเตอร์ได้บางคนอาจมือในครั้งนั้นได้เคยรูปเคดีวานนั่นไอสายแต่ไงที่บุญไทยเป็นแพทย์นำปีปอนมาไปผมมวยได้สายแต่ปีไทยมึงยังบ้านดีใจผมมีเด้ถ้วยอาคารผมมีดอกสำคัญนี่มันแม่นเจียกาบังอานะสมัยบางปอนให้ประเสริฐติงประในขนมหางเชียงสกไม้หรือขึ้นจะมีจังคลายไปก็ในไปหมัดติงแต่ปอมีนั่งหนึ่งทั่วเอาประมีนสวัสดิภาพแต่ต้นจมูกนังกากำนัดตำไหลบาทบ่ลูกหะมวยจำนวนอันนี้ได้ติงประก็ได้ติงตรงแดงก็ได้ติงสปอนก็ได้นั่งตัวบานสวัสดิภาพแต่เลยกาจุนโดสวัสดิภาพในการจุนโดให้ในเป็นตำไหลบาทนั่งกำนัดจิงหมอกนะยืนคืนตำไหลบ่ประหรือก็ตรงได้สปอนหาเซ็งๆในการล้างคลังได้การล้างคลังใส่ตัวคือเจียตำไหลบาทตัวแต่บอมปอนโยดังปีตำไหลบาทนั่งสันตัวบอมปอนอาจโยปีบอมมีนั่งให้ฉบับหามีเรื่องอะไรกันนะแต่ไปแจกนี่สันนะตัวแต่การกำนัดตั้งจมูกนั่ง5 สัปดาห์นั่งบานเชิงบอกการกำนัดตำไหลบาทบานเชิงบอกหาอันนั้นนั่นจังนะนั่นจังแต่สันติงมุนกำนัดตำไหลใครตำไหลนั่งเจียตำไหลกราวตำไหลบาทอะการปลุยการลอยแต่มาดองวัวเล่นยืนเปียถักขาดแต่ภาษาติงมุนตำไหลบาทโขมนั้นอันนั้นยังมีตำไหลมวยได้ให้ทศวรรษที่ใส่ก็จีตำไหลบาทอุทิศหอประไปจากมันไปสปมไปดลาในเครื่องมวยตำนังประสานภาษาอังกฤษอนุมัติฉบับนั้นให้กำหนดทางตำไหลบาทระบบประนั้นคือ$90ในเครื่องมวยตำนังเช่นสมัยบงพลได้ติงไปสปมไปดลาในเครื่องมวยตำนังก็จะนั่งปีดลาในเครื่องมวยตำนังให้ประนั้นคืออาจจะขอไปสปมไปดลาตัวโพตำไหลบาทคือกำหนดทางโดยตรง$90ชื่อตำไหลเตรียมพอได้ตำไหลประอาการตรุษให้นับไปได้ยังยิงจังจะมีรายการละคือตำไหลก๊าซตุลานวับแต่มาเถอะที่จังยิงใจทั้งออกนี่นะแล้วตื่นศึกษาให้ได้ตำไหลบาทนั่นคือการจริงมาตำไหลบาทนั่นคือการจริงปีสหรัฐอเมริกาจมูกนั่งยุทธศาสตร์ไปกูไปเจงหรือก็ไปชังจันยังดังนั้นถ้าจันกับกรงโลหะกำร้สเตอร์แต่จมไม่มีพบโลกมันแม้นได้ซาแต่จันมีโลหะกำร้นั้นตั้งออกไปเป็นนักสมัครเป็นในการกำรังอย่างบ่จันนั้นนะจมูกนั่งกรงหุ้นจันในวินิโยมุนแต่เลือกการจำรังโลหะกำร้นั้นตัวจันมีเปรียบเป็นเลยพิภพโลกเปรียบเป็นเลยพิภพโลกข้อปีสหรัฐอเมริกาต้องเป็นเกี่ยวกับการมีรายจ่ายแต่กลุ่มหุ้นระบบสหรัฐอเมริกาทันในกลุ่มกิจสัญญาหรือทันในกลุ่มกิจโปร่งเปลี่ยนปฏิฐานเพื่อการที่รายระบบสหรัฐอเมริกานั้นมันนี่แต่มันสมบูรณ์แบบที่แต่ปัจจุบันนี้สหรัฐอเมริกาได้จริงไปได้ให้กลุ่มนั้นการปีไงติดบุญตามสมเด็จพระลูกเจดีวันยังเคยลูกโดนัลด์ทรัมป์คือเตรียมครูน10 ปีปอนเหรียญ10 ปีปอนเหรียญจ่ายแต่เลยการสต็อกในราคากำร้อยแต่ง10 ปีประเภทไทยสหรัฐอเมริกาโยธาโดยมีเพียบจำใบสำคัญต้องการประกูไปแจ้งแต่เลยวิสัย AI หรือจนถึงเดิมไปใส่ไปใช้กับวิจัยต้องประปอนการปีฉีดจังสหรัฐอเมริกาทั่วเรื่องแต่นั้นคือจะการประกาศสังเกตจำหรือเรื่องอเมริกาจะมวยจันแต่เลยสังเกตยุทธศาสตร์ในโลหะกำร้อยวิการปีเรื่องที่มวยการปีตำไหลระบบประมีปีเรื่องประสานภาษาอังกฤษแล้วคืออุทิศทางลูกโดนัลด์ทรัมป์จะก็โยนขึ้นการประอังกฤษสำคัญแต่เลยเศรษฐกิจให้บังไปแต่เลยจันมันจะมีกลุ่มหุ้นโรครายประชุมเป็นพิภพโลกเห็นทัวร์เด็กพิภพจะการจำหน่ายคู่ครั้งให้ปราไปบัดนี้ปรำตือดับฉนามจึงเรื่องปีได้รัฐบาลเธอที่มือคือเธอติงสต็อปประตุกหายมูลการกำหนดกำไรมาที่ปีเธอปลายรายมาเทียมแต่ดอกกลุ่มหุ้นโรคทั้งออกหนึ่งขนมกาจายวีสะหุยบังกายมาสินบังกายปัจจัยกติขนมกายรวมๆจังลุยทุ่มแต่ประสันจีมันกำหนดกำไรมาเต้มีเรื่องไอ้การแลนประเทศฉันเคยประเทศสหรัฐอเมริกาเคยมันดาประเทศเซ็งที่กับปงไตทัวร์หรือก็รกประได้ชียุทธศาสตร์บักลุ้นโลหะยุทธศาสตร์บักลุ้นคือจีบวัตถุได้คือโรนยกไปของเรียนกับไฮพิภพโลกจันนึงเผยยุทธศาสตร์มุ้ยคือแต่ตัวอย่างมวยยุทธศาสตร์ดำไหลเท่ายังประสันจันตำแหละหรือก็นอนจริงเติมผลิตประบานช้านอนจริงบานเชิญตำแหละดำไหลประมีเรื่องไอ้การละบัดกำลังดำไหลบักคืออุตสาหกรรมระบบบรรดาประเทศอย่าง50ได้สหรัฐอเมริกาโจมกโจมกโฮซีจิกโรคประถึงนั่นประชดจมุกจมูกนังกาขาดบังแปลงได้มันตอนมันลุกเจ๋งตัวแต่แปลงได้มันตอนมันจำเป็นเจ๋งอันนั้นคือที่ยุทธศาสตร์ประชังนี่ยี่ใบงี้ก็ใบสไลด์อายุก็ใบตะเบียบตาสิโคลซึ่งสังท่าสิโคลใจอย่างอัฟเนีย ហ្នឹងគឺជាអ្វីដែលលោក Donald Trump គាត់ធ្វើអញ្ចឹងបងប្អូនស្ដាប់មកគឺមិនចាំបាច់មានហេតុផលច្រើនព្រោះស្ដាប់ហេតុផលហ្នឹងក៏យល់ដែរទីមួយគឺការពារផលប្រយោជន៍សហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកទៅលើបច្ចេកវិទ្យាដែលសហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកត្រូវការចាំបាច់ហើយតែការចាំបាច់ហ្នឹងបើពឹងផ្អែកទៅលើដង្ហើមចិនឡើងគឺស្រេចទៅលើចិនខ្ទប់លោហៈប្រាក់ហ្នឹងគឺស្រេចទៅលើចិនអញ្ចឹងបើមិនចង់ពឹងផ្អែកលើចិនតើផលិតខ្លួនឯងបានខ្ពស់តើអត់បើផលិតខ្លួនឯងបានខ្ពស់យកមកគ្រប់គ្រងបានតើតែមានក្រុមហ៊ុនយកទៅរុករកហើយបើសិនមានក្រុមហ៊ុនយកទៅរុករកអាលោហៈប្រាក់នេះវាមិនមែនដូចជាត្រីដែលបង់ពីទន្លេមកឬក៏សត្វជ្រូកតែចិញ្ចឹមឬក៏សត្វដែលគេចិញ្ចឹមមានរយៈពេលខ្លីវាត្រូវការរយៈពេល5ឆ្នាំហើយទៅ10ឆ្នាំចំណាយពេលវេលាហើយអាចនឹងខាតបង់ទៀតព្រោះតែពេលខ្លះយល់ឃើញនៅកន្លែងហ្នឹងអាចវាផលិតបានច្រើនទៅពេលផលិតទៅវាមិនបានច្រើនយកមកគ្រប់គ្រងណាអញ្ចឹងបើសិនជាចំណាយច្រើនហើយស្រាប់តែចិនចង់ធ្វើបាបចិនតម្លាក់តំណែងតម្លាក់តម្លៃតំណែងជាយុទ្ធសាស្ត្រដេកទាំងសហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកដេកទាំងក្រុមហ៊ុនទាំងអស់ហ្នឹងដល់ពេលតម្លាក់ទៅក្រុមហ៊ុនទាំងអស់ហ្នឹងខ្សែធនចិនចាប់ដើមតម្លើងវិញមានថាចិនក្តោបក្តាប់ពីសាអញ្ចឹងការសើតម្លៃប៉ានហ្នឹងគឺជាយុទ្ធសាស្ត្ររបស់សហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកប្រកាសយុទ្ធសាស្ត្រចំប្រឆាំងជាមួយចិនប្រឆាំងទី1ដែលការពារតម្លៃបើសិនភាសាអាមេរិកកំណត់ថា$88នៅក្នុងមួយឱបឬក៏$90នៅក្នុងមួយឱបនៅខ្ញុំនិយាយណាគឺមុនទៅប្រែប្រាក់ទាំងអស់ហ្នឹងឬក្រុមហ៊ុនរកលោហៈកម្រទាំង12មុខរបស់សហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកហ្នឹងមានតាំងពីតុងដែងមានតាំងពីស្បួនហ្នឹងអត់បារម្ភទេអត់បារម្ភហ្នឹងព្រោះមានតម្លៃកំណត់មួយដែលធានាថាអញរស់ស៊ី5ឆ្នាំទៀតបើយកមកលូកបាននៅក្នុងតម្លៃហ្នឹងគឺទៀបអស់តម្លៃហ្នឹងហើយបើសិនជាតម្រូវការពីការឡើងវាលើសតម្លៃហ្នឹងទៅទៀតនិយាយបែបហ្នឹងហ្នឹងគឺជាយុទ្ធសាស្ត្រដែលខ្ញុំយកមកពន្យល់បងប្អូនឲ្យងាយយល់ហើយយុទ្ធសាស្ត្រនេះគឺឆ្លើយតបជាមួយនឹងចិនដែលយកមាសទៅសម្រាប់ដុល្លារនេះសហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកកំពុងតែដើរចេញពីវិស័យបរិស្ថានពិភពលោកយើងមើលនៅក្នុងនេះយើងមានរឿងពីរទៀតដែលយើងអាចឃើញបានណាប្រសិនបើប្រព័ន្ធច្បាប់នៅក្នុងស្រុកខ្មែរល្អអ្នកដែលមានលុយទិញដីកសិកម្មដែលថោកទុកចោលធានាហើយអីពីព្រោះនៅពេលដែលប្រទេសធំដើរចេញពីបរិស្ថានដើរចេញពីប្រព័ន្ធបរិស្ថានរបស់ពិភពលោកប្រែប្រួលស្បៀងអាហាររបស់ពិភពលោកក៏ប្រែប្រួលដែរដីកសិកម្មបន្តប្រទេសមួយនឹងត្រូវបានឈ្នួលបរទេសវិទីយកនៅក្នុងថ្ងៃអនាគតហើយបើសិនបើប្រព័ន្ធច្បាប់ហ្នឹងវាល្អសម្រាប់ប្រទេសហ្នឹង100%អ្នកទិញដីកសិកម្មចំណេញតែក្នុងនេះមិនមែនមានន័យថានេះខ្ញុំទាញចេញពីប្រាក់ឲ្យបងប្អូនយល់ទេណាពេលស្ដាប់ព័ត៌មានយើងក៏យល់រឿងបានច្រើនក្នុងនេះមិនមែនមានថាបងប្អូនតែទិញដីកសិកម្មនេះខ្ញុំមិនជំរុញឬក៏មិននេះប៉ុន្តែបើសិនជាចិត្តខ្ញុំក៏ទិញបើអ្នកដទៃអាចទិញបានហើយរក្សាដីខ្លួនយើងក៏យើងជាម្ចាស់ស្រុកល្អបានប៉ុន្តែរឿងនេះយើងមិនធានាបានទាំងខ្ញុំទាំងគេយើងមើលតែបងអូនមួយនៅគិត farm ក្មេងមែនទេក្លាហានប៉កែឆ្លាតទៅអភិវឌ្ឍទៅទិញទៅធ្វើហើយចុងក្រោយគ្នាមានបញ្ហារឿងដីឃើញអត់អញ្ចឹងអានឹងបានជាខ្ញុំនិយាយថាខ្ញុំមិនធានាទេប៉ុន្តែខ្ញុំនិយាយថាបើយើងនិយាយព័ត៌មានមួយហ្នឹងវាឃើញឱកាសពីរតកូនតចៃតែឥឡូវយើងនិយាយពីប្រាក់យើងទៅក៏មិនទៅដល់រឿងរបស់គេសំណូមពរបើសិនបើជួយបានក៏ជួយមិនបានក៏មិនជួយឃើញព័ត៌មានរបស់គាត់ជួយ share គាត់ផងទៅពីព្រោះហៅណាស់ក៏វាជាសម្ពាធដែរសម្រាប់យុទ្ធធម៌មួយឬក៏សម្រាប់អ្នកដែលគាត់កំពុងតែធ្វើរឿងត្រូវមួយនៅក្នុងប្រព័ន្ធសេដ្ឋកិច្ចរបស់ប្រទេសកម្ពុជាទោះបីជាលុយទាំងអស់ហ្នឹងវាចូលក្នុងអាប៉ៅរបស់ម្ចាស់គៀប farm នឹងមែនប៉ុន្តែវាជាតម្លាភាពរបស់សង្គមជាប្រព័ន្ធយុទ្ធធម៌ដែលសង្គមត្រូវតែកសាងទាំងអស់គ្នាហើយគឺជាចរន្តនៃសេដ្ឋកិច្ចដែលលើកទឹកចិត្តដល់អ្នកដទៃទៀតដែលគាត់ចង់វិនិយោគគាត់ចង់ធ្វើណាគាត់មានភាពកក់ក្ដៅតែបើសិនជាម្នាក់នេះបើថាចេះថ្ងៃក្រោយក៏មិនមានដែរដូចអាកមួយសម្រាប់1000ឥឡូវយើងតទៀតមិនយើងបានយល់ណាយើងបានយល់អំពីប្រាក់នឹងទាំងអស់ហ្នឹងហើយសម្រាប់សហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកនៅក្នុងពេលបច្ចុប្បន្នការរុករកទៅលើលោហៈនៅក្នុងប្រទេសសហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកទៅការរយៈពេល5ឆ្នាំហើយក្នុងរយៈពេល5ឆ្នាំសហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកជឿថានឹងអាចធ្វើឲ្យមានការប្រែប្រួលរូបរាងនៃអំណាចនៃការគ្រប់គ្រងនិងការផលិតរបស់ប្រទេសចិនហើយស្របពេលនេះមានបណ្ដាប្រទេសផ្សេងកំពុងតែចូលរួមជាមួយនឹងសហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកហើយសហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកកំណត់50ប្រទេសអញ្ចឹងកាលណាបើសិនជា50ប្រទេសហ្នឹងអាចដើរទៅបានណាយើងនឹងឃើញសង្គ្រាមកើតឡើងណាសង្គ្រាមលុយសង្គ្រាមមាសសង្គ្រាមលោហៈកម្រហើយសង្គ្រាមលោហៈកម្រនេះសិតតែផ្ដល់ប្រយោជន៍ដល់អ្នកដែលដើរតាមតនសេដ្ឋកិច្ចទាំងអស់ហើយនៅពេលដែលលោហៈកម្រនឹងវាកើតឡើងមានន័យកើតឡើងតម្លៃនៃគ្រឿងអេឡិចត្រូនិកតម្លៃនៃរថយន្តតម្លៃនៃទូរស័ព្ទដែលប្រើលោហៈកម្រឬក៏ព័ន្ធ AI នឹងកើនឡើងថ្លៃទៅតាមហ្នឹងពីព្រោះ គេបាន set នៅតម្លៃបាតហើយគេបាន set នៅតម្លៃបាតហើយមួយទៀតគឺការស្ទុះលើកឡើងភ្លាមនៅពេលដែលតម្លៃទាំងអស់ហ្នឹងត្រូវបាន set ចប់ហើយនៅពេលដែលតម្រូវការមានការផ្ទុះឡើងខ្លាំងហេតុអីក៏ផ្ទុះឡើងភ្លាមហើយក៏តម្រូវការឡើងពីព្រោះមនុស្សព្យាយាមទិញទុកតែមួយសំបីតែ paper contract ហ្នឹងក៏ទិញទុកដែរហើយសំបីតែអ្នកដែលគាត់ធ្វើគូឧស្សាហកម្មក៏មានតម្រូវការកើនឡើងដែរហើយគ្រឹះស្ថានហិរញ្ញវត្ថុផ្សេងៗក៏ចាប់ផ្ដើមរក្សាឬក៏សន្សំមាសទុកដែរហេតុអីក៏គ្រឹះស្ថានហិរញ្ញវត្ថុសន្សំមាសទុកពីព្រោះវាជារបស់មួយដែលការពារសុវត្ថិភាពបានសម្រាប់ពួកគេណាជាទ្រព្យមួយដែលនឹងបញ្ចូលតម្លៃប្រាក់អាចកើនឡើងគុណ2ទៀតហើយជាការនិយាយរបស់ខ្ញុំណាដែលកុំជឿអសោះណាហើយសូម្បីតែឧស្សាហកម្មរថយន្តផ្សេងៗហ្នឹងក៏ចាប់ផ្ដើមទិញដែរពីព្រោះពេលណាដែលគ្រឹះស្ថានហិរញ្ញវត្ថុទិញដុំប្រាក់ចូលមិនទិញ ETF មិនទិញ Forex មិនទិញ Exchange អីទេទិញដុំប្រាក់ចូលវាធ្វើឲ្យប្រាក់ខូចនៅលើទីផ្សារកាន់តែខូចជាងការដណ្ដើមកាន់កាប់មុនដែលកម្រិតនៃលោហៈកម្រឬក៏មុនដែលប្រាក់ផលិតបានហ្នឹងវាធ្វើឲ្យតម្លៃប្រាក់ស៊ូឡើងច្រើនអញ្ចឹងសម្រាប់អ្នកដែលទិញលោហៈប្រាក់ណាយើងក៏កំណត់មើលតម្លៃសុវត្ថិភាពដែលចេញដោយសហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកនិងកំណត់តម្លៃតម្រូវការរបស់ពិភពលោកហើយអញ្ចឹងអាចធានាបានរឿងមួយប្រាក់វាអាចធ្លាក់នៅក្នុងតម្លៃធំហ្នឹងវាអត់ធ្លាក់ទៅទៀតទេហើយវានឹងឡើងទៅវិញបន្ទាប់ពីតម្រូវការទុកអញ្ចឹងរឿងល្អសម្រាប់អ្នកសន្សំនៅក្នុងរយៈពេលវែងតែរឿងពេលខ្លះទោះបីជារឿងនឹងសុវត្ថិភាព 99% ក៏ដោយប៉ុន្តែវានៅតែស្លាប់នៅតែមានចំណុចស្លាប់ 1% ដូចជាមាសមួយថ្ងៃមុនហ្នឹង670ទៅហ៎670ខ្ញុំលក់តាំងពី550ខ្ញុំប្រកាសហើយខ្ញុំលក់ឲ្យពួកខ្ញុំビッតខ្ញុំនៅអូនឡាដែរហើយគេវាតាំងទុកបាន580លក់ដល់ពួកខ្ញុំប៉ុន្តែ580គឺជាតម្លៃខ្ពស់បំផុតហើយហើយតែក៏ខ្ញុំឲ្យលក់ព្រោះខ្ញុំគិតថា580ឡើងដល់ហ្នឹងវាធ្លាក់មកវិញហើយតែចាស់យ៉ាងនេះវាឡើងដល់670ទៅខ្ញុំថាអូ670ប្រកាសជាមានអ្នកជាប់ហើយក៏ការខ្ញុំហើយក៏ប្រកាសជាមានបញ្ហាតែខ្ញុំមិនបាននិយាយទេខ្ញុំគិតក្នុងពេលហ្នឹងគឺខ្ញុំប្រើតែវីដេអូដើម្បីដាស់តឿនបងប្អូនទេដាស់តឿនឲ្យរំលឹក550ហ្នឹងណាពីព្រោះនៅពេលដែលតម្លៃប៉ោងឡើងប្រកាសជាមានការលក់ចេញតែវាគ្រាន់តែជារឿងនៃការ correction ទេដូចជាក្រាស់បន្តិចដែរដួលលំបន្តិចដែរប៉ុន្តែមានសុវត្ថិភាពសម្រាប់ការសន្សំរយៈពេលវែងដែរហើយក៏វាជាពេលល្អសម្រាប់ការទិញមាសដែរទិញមាសទុកដែរប្រាស់ដូចគ្នាដែរកំពុងតែធ្លាក់ហ្នឹងគឺជាពេលវេលាល្អក្នុងការទិញទុកដូចគ្នាសង្ឃឹមថាវីដេអូនេះមានប្រយោជន៍ហើយសូមជំរាបជូនថាព័ត៌មានខ្ញុំមានសោះជូនប៉ុន្តែសួរថាខ្ញុំយកព័ត៌មានរបស់ JD1 និងការវិភាគរបស់ Reuters ឬក៏ព័ត៌មានទាំងអស់ហ្នឹងយកមកនិយាយតាមទេអត់ទេអានេះគឺនិយាយមើលព័ត៌មានហើយប្រើទស្សនៈខ្លួនឯងនិយាយសុទ្ធអញ្ចឹងមានរឿងអីនៅក្នុងទស្សនៈខ្លួនឯងទស្សនៈទាំងអស់នេះមិនឆ្លុះបញ្ចាំងពីស្ថាប័នណាមួយក៏មិនឆ្លុះបញ្ចាំងពីនិន្នាការនយោបាយណាមួយដែរហើយក៏មិនកំណត់ថាទស្សនៈនេះត្រូវដែរវាអាចខុសពីព្រោះវាគាត់តែជាការយល់ឃើញរបស់អ្នកណាម្នាក់ប៉ុន្តែអ្នកនឹងជំនាញអីក៏ដោយវាគាត់ជាទស្សនៈទេជាពិសេសការយល់ឃើញទៅលើទស្សនៈរបស់សង្គមទស្សនៈលើបច្ចេកវិទ្យាបច្ចេកទេសអាចទស្សនៈរបស់អ្នកជំនាញ 90% ត្រូវតែបើសិនជាទស្សនៈរបស់សង្គមរំបាត់សង្គមណា 90% យើងអាចនិយាយ 90% គឺ 50 ហេតុអីពីព្រោះសង្គមគឺជារបស់ដែលមានជីវិតវាផ្លាស់ប្ដូរទៅតាមមេដឹកនាំទៅតាមការមើលឃើញអំពីហានិភ័យនិងការបំរែបំរួលជាក់ស្ដែងនៅទី Kevin Walsh ខ្ញុំបាននិយាយថាគាត់ឈ្មោះ Kevin Walsh នឹងធ្វើឲ្យកម្លាំងមាសប្រាក់ធ្លាក់ខ្លាំងពីព្រោះ Kevin Walsh គឺជាអ្នកដែលមិនបោះពុម្ពលុយទេតែចង់ Kevin Walsh នឹងត្រូវបោះពុម្ពលុយដោយសារតែស្ថានភាពបច្ចុប្បន្នស្ថានភាពនៃពិភពលោកដែលខ្ញុំនិយាយថាប្រសិនបើពិភពលោកនៅតែមានបញ្ហា Kevin Walsh 10 ដង Kevin Walsh 20 ដងក៏នៅតែបោះពុម្ពលុយដូចចូលរំពោលដែរនៅចំច័កនេះគឺជាអ្វីដែលខ្ញុំអាចជម្រាបជូនបងប្អូនសូមអរគុណសូមជម្រាបលា